Hey everyone, Fast Eddie here. I just want to say thanks to everyone, all my subscribers and supporters and everybody who's bought my book and t-shirts and that support me on Patreon and PayPal and everything else, so I really appreciate it. So this video is going to be, when should I upgrade my bike? Funny drawing, it's a tricycle and one to like a cruiser bike, but this is a question I get a lot. Some people ask, well, you know, if I have a bike, if I have a Yamaha R3, when do you think I should get a Yamaha R6? Or any type of combination like that. I get questions like that all the time. So this is my advice about upgrading the bike. When should I do it? And the answer is, don't. Don't upgrade your bike. I want you to upgrade yourself. You probably heard me say this in a bunch of my other videos, but if you're new to my channel, I always say upgrade the software, forget about the hardware. So it's always the software over the hardware. And how do you do that? You do that by taking formal motorcycle courses, and you spend a tremendous amount of time practicing. If you do that, you take a course on the bike that you have and then spend a whole bunch of time practicing, then you realize, man, this bike can do a whole lot more than what I thought. Well, the bike didn't change, but you did, right? If you get to be a really good rider, then you can ride any bike really well. But if you're a crappy rider, then it doesn't matter what type of bike you have, you're just gonna ride it crappy, right? So there's my first advice. Whenever you think you've reached the limits of the bike or you want a more powerful bike or whatever else, take another course. It could be a dirt course, it could be using someone else's bike, you could be using your bike, but if you just keep on upgrading the software, you'll realize the hardware, the bike itself is less and less important. You're probably just lacking the skill to really ride the bike well. Tip number 2. If you think you are ready to upgrade your bike and you have taken a bunch of courses and you are practicing, you're like, oh, I'm feeling pretty good. I've taken 2 or 3 courses in the last 2 or 3 years, whatever it is, and I feel like I'm ready. This is what I recommend to be able to tell, to kind of gauge yourself. So it's not just subjective. I'm like, well, I feel like I'm okay. I've taken 3 courses the last 2 years. I think I'm ready to upgrade. So my second tip, if you want to upgrade the bike, is be able to do brown belt in my MotoJitsu program. So if you go to my website, MotoJitsu.com, and pick up my book, there are different belt levels of things you can go practice on your own and set up on your own. This is what to practice in between your formal courses. So it starts off at white belt, and it also has knowledge questions to be able to answer and read and research. Pretty easy, basic maneuvers you have to do. Then it goes up to blue belt, and then it goes up to brown belt. And I'm not going to tell you what the knowledge questions are. You could get the book and pick it up yourself, but I'll tell you what the riding drills are. So if you cannot do brown belt on your bike, keep the bike that you have and just keep on learning and practicing until you can do brown belt. Because, and I know what a lot of people are going to say, well, MotoJitsu, your style and what you made up is not really a gauge of overall riding ability and whatever else. Yeah, I got it. And if it's so easy, why can't you do it? Right? A lot of people say that stuff is easy, and I ask them for a link of them doing the stuff on the bike, and then I hear crickets, nothing happens. So unless you could do this stuff, keep the bike. That's what I recommend. So the first exercise you have to be able to do is 3 rotations, both directions, inside of a 20-foot circle. And of course, MotoJitsu I don't care what kind of bike you have, because a lot of the times when you think you want to upgrade the bike to be able to do more things, you really can't. You don't have the skill to do it. And a lot of people blame the bike. I feel sorry for the bike because I hear the bike getting blamed for all kinds of stuff. Oh, I can't do that because my bike is a Goldwing, or my bike is a big Harley, or I have a sport bike. And blah, 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 all these excuses. The bike doesn't matter. Once you get your skill high enough, the bike becomes irrelevant. And as you've probably seen through my videos, especially my playlist of me riding like 40 different bikes doing the same things, a bike obviously doesn't matter. So that's the first drill, 3 rotations inside of a 20-foot circle. The next is a 15-foot. Every dot is 15 feet apart, so 15, 15, 15, and then every other dot is a 7-foot offset weave, so 15 by 7, so it's a really tight, crazy weave. The next drill is you think about parking spots, right? So if you go to a parking lot and you find parking spots like this, brown belt is being able to do a figure 8 within 4 parking spots. Each parking spot is 8 feet, so obviously this is a 16-foot U-turn, back to back. So a figure 8 within 4 parking spots. That's one of the other drills. The next drill is stopping, and from white, blue, brown, and black, you have stopping drills, and it gets progressively more difficult because the speed goes up and the distance gets shorter. So for brown belt, you have to stop less than 18 feet at 25 miles per hour. So you're taking off, going 25 miles per hour, put a Coke bottle or whatever it is, just put something right there so you know when to start. Once your front tire crosses whatever that is right there, you measure out 18 feet and you're going 25 miles per hour. Once your front tire gets right there, you begin to brake and see if you can stop less than 18 feet. That is a brown belt stopping drill, very, very fast stop. And the last exercise for brown belt is you have to be able to get your knee down around a 40-foot diameter circle in both directions. So unless you could do all that stuff, plus answer every single one of these questions for all of the belts beforehand, you're not good enough. Keep upgrading yourself. Next, if you could do these things, you could do brown belt on your bike, or maybe you even can't do brown belt, right? So you've taken a bunch of courses, you're practicing, but it's not so much you don't think you have the skills to do this stuff. My third and final tip is, what if just your goals change? Then it's perfectly fine to change out bikes, even if you may not be able to do brown belt on that bike. So for example, if you wanted to go from mostly on-road riding, say you went to a dirt bike course and you just want to do a lot more dirt stuff now, so you want to get a different bike. Say you have a sport bike, well, that's not meant for the dirt, so you want to get a different bike to ride in the dirt, maybe like a dual sport bike. So that's perfectly fine to switch your bike out if your goals change. Let's say you just ride around your city or your neighborhood, just maybe back and forth to work, but now you got a different job that's an hour away and there's a lot of traffic. So maybe you want to get a bike that's a little bit more comfortable and has little comfort items like cruise control and a bigger windshield or heated grips, since you're doing longer distance riding. Maybe you want to start taking passengers now, and the bike you have isn't really the best comfort and whatever else for a passenger, so you want to get a different bike to be able to have yourself and the passenger. That makes sense to get a different bike. Or if you start carrying a whole bunch of luggage. So for example, I had a 2016 BMW 1200 GS, a big old adventure bike, and that bike made perfect sense for what I was using it for the 2 years that I had it. Long distance riding. I would travel all over the place and teach. I would have to be comfortable. I would take passengers all the time. I would go on and off-road. I would do everything with the bike. That's why they call that bike a Swiss Army knife. It does everything. But now that I'm not teaching as much, I'm not traveling at all, not very far at all to go teach. I'm not even taking passengers much anymore. I'm not going off-road anymore with my own motorcycle. I don't need to carry much luggage to do anything anymore. So my goals have shifted. That's why I bought the bike that I have now. I have different goals and I bought the bike that would meet that goal. But when I bought the new bike, I went all the way back to white belt in my own program. And I made sure I started off with white belt and I was able to do each drill 10 times in a row without making a mistake. And then I went to blue belt. And I did each drill in blue belt 10 times in a row, and then brown, and then black. So right now, I am a black belt in my own program on my new bike. And that's the mentality to have. If you get a new bike, we'll start over and practice the drills to see what you got. So there's my advice about wanting to upgrade a new bike. If you have an R3 and you're thinking about getting an R6, or if you have an R6 and now you think you want an R1, take more courses to learn how to be a better rider, and you'll realize very quickly it's not the bike that's limiting you, it's you. You're just not good enough. And if you want a way to gauge yourself to see if you are actually good or not, if you can't do brown belt in MotoJitsu, then why are you upgrading the bike? You're obviously not good enough to even do simple parking lot drills. And if your goals just change completely and you're adding or subtracting a bunch of different of these things, then it would make sense to get a different bike as well to make sure it fulfills your goals for you. And of course, everyone, thank you for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe. MotoJitsu.com has everything, all my gear, t-shirts, stickers, my book, playlist, everything about me, recommended courses that I have taken and that I recommend everybody to take. It's all on my website. Make sure you share the video with other people who have maybe made some mistakes and they got on a big bike too heavy, too much power too quickly, and maybe this will kind of reset their mentality when they're going to purchase a new bike, or maybe yourself are thinking about a new bike. Maybe this will help guide you in the right direction, or to make you keep the bike that you have and kind of master your ability on that bike before going to something more powerful and bigger. So thanks for watching, you guys. Feel free to comment. As you guys know, I'll reply back to everybody within 24 hours. So see you guys later.